And we are live. Salut Remi.
Salut.
Ça va?
Ça va très bien et toi?
Now we will speak in English. First, thank you for accepting my invitation. I'm a huge fan. For me, you're a kind of a mad genius.
Okay.
First time I listened to your music, it was like blow my mind. No, because I love the mix of electronics and metal, but what you did was really special. So, no, it's very cool. It's great to have you on my podcast. And I would like to ask you if you can introduce yourself a little bit for the people that don't know you.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Remi, and so I'm most well known for my project, The Algorithm. It's a project that that sort of fusion electronic music with metal music. So I've been releasing albums since 2010, I think, and touring the world. Not the entire world, but I've been touring a lot of countries. And most recently, I was on tour with Perturbator last year in Europe.
And what? Sorry?
No, I was saying that I was on tour with Perturbator last year in Europe. Yeah, that's, I don't know, maybe some people know me from this tour. Perturbator. Yeah, I don't know.
Perturbator. Yeah, it sounds weird. It sounds weird in English.
Yeah.
I always listen to. No, that was great. I didn't know about it.
Yeah, it was a really great tour. I think in Poland, I can't remember the city, but a city in Poland we played in front of more than 1,000 people, which for me is kind of incredible because I've never done more than, I don't know, 300 or 400 people in club shows. So that was like a very great tour, and it was really nice. I mean, and amazing for me to be able to tour with Perturbator because I've been a fan for a long time, and so it was great.
Legend. What do you think is the thing with synthwave and France? Because most of the, if you see Carpenter Brut,
I don't know. I think in France there's this thing that we kind of like the idea of it's in French you say kitsch. I don't know if there is an English word for it, but it's this very specific retro 80s vibe that is kind of really bad but really cool at the same time. And I think it's also comes from this French humor thing. I don't know. But it's interesting. I'm also from Jean-Michel Jarre. You know, it's like a synth artist. He was really big in the 80s, and I think he had a really big impact on French music.
Yeah, especially their show where like, I don't know how he pulled that off so many times in the pyramids in Egypt. I don't know.
No, that's crazy. I mean, he has probably like so many light engineers and people working for him and doing.
I played with lasers.
Yeah,
I remember all the stuff. Is amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, have you listened some of the latest stuff? Their collaboration album.
With, you mean Jean-Michel Jarre and Perturbator, or what do you mean?
No. He released. I think he released 2 albums of collaboration with more the modern artists like Kassafelstein.
Okay, I didn't know. I haven't listened to that. No, should I listen to it?
Maybe.
Okay.
No, they're good stuff. Is not everything good, but for me. But he made a collaboration with Kassafelstein.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he tried to keep with the types.
Yeah, it must be interesting because they have quite different styles as well.
Yeah, of course. No, but I think Jean-Michel Jarre, he was trying to look, for inspiration from more modern artists, and I think that's great because most artists that they are in that level, they think they are perfect and they don't need to evolve.
Yeah.
So,
and even creatively, I think it's probably interesting to hear like
yeah,
the modern and old approach together, how that sounds.
sure. So, how you start with this? How you start with music in general? You were like guitar player, keyboard
so
player.
my dad was a guitar player in like a cover band, like when in his 20s. So I always had a guitar at home and a piano as well. So I was always, in this atmosphere of music, thanks to my dad. And then I enrolled into music school when I was 10 or 11, but I was really bad. I was really bad at it, and I did 1 year of guitar, but I didn't even pass the second year because I liked music, but I didn't like it that much, and I wasn't practicing guitar or anything. So I was just really, really bad.
But you were learning with what kind of songs? Like
Classical guitar. I don't have any names.
Because it happened the same with me when I was learning when I was little, and I didn't like the songs, so it didn't inspire me to learn.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
But
I don't know. In my case, I was also too young, and I was only interested in video games and computers, and not so much about music. But it came after, like 5 or 6 years later, I came back to music with like listening to metalcore and deathcore and death metal and stuff like that. And then I started playing guitar again, and and then I joined my first band when I was 16, and we were doing like typical MySpace metalcore back in the days. MySpace core.
Can you explain that definition?
Well, I don't know.
For people that don't know MySpace.
So I don't know if you have a really young audience. Maybe they don't even know what MySpace is.
Oh, it's very broad. So
okay.
Yeah, of course.
Also MySpace. Back in the days when MySpace was a thing, there was a lot of metal bands, like specifically metalcore bands that were popular, like Job for a Cowboy, and that's the only name that I can remember.
What was the name of your band?
Dying Breath. So
Dying Breath.
Yeah, the breath of the dying.
You play with this.
It actually came from a spell in Diablo 2, the game Diablo 2. There's a spell called like that, so that's why we call.
So there's a geek influence right there
already.
And you were at that moment playing with 6-string or 7-string?
I think 6 strings still. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know 7 strings guitar was a thing back then, I think. And so we did that for like 2 or 3 years, I think, and we played a few shows like around my hometown, like nothing really crazy, but it was fun. And then when the band split up, because everyone like went into different cities and studying, and also I moved to a different city to study computer science.
Everyone was on. You moved from your city to studying computer science?
Yeah, to Toulouse.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved there to to go to the university, and I studied computer science there. And so everyone was moving away, and then we decided to split the band, of course. But I was like, no, I kind of like this, and I don't want to stop making music. So I downloaded a bunch of audio softwares, and I started messing around, making music, on my own with my computer. That was like, I don't know, 12 years ago, probably. So
what was your first DAW?
My first what?
Your first digital.
My first DAW.
Workstation.
Well, the first one, the very first one was Guitar Pro.
Okay.
Guitar Pro 3 or 4, I don't know, an old Guitar Pro version, and then I went to Cubase for like I think my first demo is called the Doppler effect. I think this was written in Cubase, and then I switched to Ableton Live, and I haven't changed since then.
What do you think is the main difference between why you changed from Cubase to Ableton? Do you think Ableton is more flexible, or?
I don't know. At the time, I didn't really understand it well, but from what I could read and from what I could watch from YouTube tutorials and stuff, it seemed like Ableton was easier for people who wanted to make electronic music. So that was sort of like the selling point for me. I wanted to make electronic stuff, so Ableton. People were talking about Ableton, so I was like, okay, that must be better. I don't know why, but maybe it's better.
Yeah.
And it's
that is true.
And it's true, yeah, because you have all these plugins, and it's so easy to drag and drop stuff, and it makes the workflow, I think, so much faster.
Oh, that's great. So basically, you were replacing your band with computers.
Yeah. No,
that's great. And then when do you start to make music on your own? And
yeah, I was still studying, but then I went to the university during the day, and then when I came back home at night, I was just making music all night, and then sometimes I was late at school because I was making music and smoking weed sometimes. That happened.
Inspiration.
Yeah. And so yeah, and then I did that, and I don't know I think it was just for fun, maybe, or maybe I thought it was cool, to write a bunch of tracks and call it an album. That was like, I didn't have any like real motivation, or I wasn't expecting it to be kind of popular, I just did it because I thought it was fun. And then when I put the tracks online, I realized that a lot of people enjoyed them. Like, looking back, there wasn't so many people. There was probably like 10 people who enjoyed it, who said something to me. But it was a lot already for me. And I don't know, I thought it was cool that some guy from Russia and then some other guy from the States were, sending like really nice and encouraging words to me about my music. I thought it was like amazing, and so I kept going, and here I am.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And well, I live in France, but I'm not French. I came from Chile. I don't know, where is it? It's in South America.
Yeah, I know.
But something that caught my attention here in France is kind of I know not all the people is like that, but I think there's a kind of a social pressure to do the things like perfectly or don't. Like, ou tu fais bien ou tu fais pas. I don't know if you feel that way, because I know that I have some friends that will love make music, but they are so scared to, do the thing and it's not good enough, and that way your example is great, because for me, if you don't try it, you will never know, it's like making it that you kind of evolve. And I don't know if you it's just me, or or maybe you feel something like that sometimes.
So you feel like specifically in France you have this problem? I mean, you notice this phenomenon? specifically in France?
No, it happened in Chile too, but here especially, it's like, for example, the idea of make this podcast is also like one day I wanted to do it, so I do it. I wasn't expecting that it was gonna be successful or not, and a lot of people I hear they're kind of surprised. It's like, yeah, I can never do that. Because they are kind of scared of failure. I don't know. But yeah, of course, you can find that all over the world. But I think, something that I really love from the culture here is the attention to detail. Like in everything, in music, in patisserie. When you buy a cake and it's so beautiful, the guy spent like 3 hours of making, and you will gonna eat it in 5 seconds. But everything, architecture, I don't know. Maybe I can see it because I'm from outside. But sometimes I think that attention to detail is like, it stops some people. So your example is great.
Yeah,
and I think it will help a lot of young producer to.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously really hard it's impossible to make something perfect. First of all, it's never perfect, but it's also,
it doesn't exist. It's subjective, especially in art.
Exactly, but it's really hard when you're making something to realize when it's done, when it's good enough. It's really hard to reach that point.
Yeah, especially when you do music by yourself.
That's why the idea of what I was doing 10 years ago of like writing the tracks and then putting them online, even if I knew they weren't perfect, I knew I didn't have like the equipment I have now. I didn't have monitor speakers. I didn't have any of that. But in a way, I didn't care because for me, that was fun. And I wanted to focus on the songwriting itself. Now it's different, but back then I didn't care about mixing. It was more about the songwriting. And I think it's great to start like with this mindset, because then people can, even if they say negative stuff, it can be constructive. And then that's what you need to be able to progress, I think. Yeah. And I always try to keep an eye out for like negative feedback and that sort of stuff, because that can be really interesting. Sometimes negative criticism is stupid because people just hate for no reason. They don't explain why.
There are a lot of groups out there.
But sometimes it can be, if it's well said and if it has a real meaning, then it can be helpful. And in the beginning, I found it was really helpful that sometimes people would tell me your mix is shit, because it was shit. But
really, was like that.
Not like this, man.
It could be better.
Yeah. It's better. A better way to say it.
You remember from those first years when you start to make music, some of your those feedback that you received, like, I don't know.
It's hard to really remember it now.
Yeah, of course.
I have a few. I actually remember the good ones more, because my brain is selecting the positive ones, I think. But I remember this guy who had like a depression, like a really severe form of depression and anxiety, and he wrote me a huge, like I don't know how many lines that was, but like a huge mail saying how the music I made was resonating with him and how he liked it. And that it kind of helped him to go through depression and get better, So
yeah, that's great. For me, it's better than win a Grammy or.
Yeah, and it's exactly the kind of thing that kept me going in the beginning, with MySpace and all that stuff. I think if I was making music and if I just kept it for me and my friends, I wouldn't have kept making music. because this was really the feedback from people that helped me get the motivation of doing it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And yeah, there's internet, making music in the age of internet is not like, in the 70s, then the artists didn't have that kind of feedback, they have to, spread some letters and everywhere. Now it's
now it's really fast. You write a track in one day and you can have it online in instantly if you want.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's great. So you were doing music by yourself and in Ableton Live. Why the idea of add a live drummer?
So when I started playing live, it was in 2011, I think, 2011. And when I was playing live back then, I didn't have a drummer. I was playing alone with my MIDI controller, and it was more like electronic performance where I was modulating stuff and adding effects, and sometimes playing some keyboard parts or some No, I didn't have guitar back then, but mostly MIDI controller stuff. And then I met Mike Mallion. So Mike Mallion was a drummer of Monuments, the band Monuments back then, and he was really interested in learning the tracks and playing them live. And so it sort of came naturally.
How? Why?
because he liked the music. And
really cool.
He decided to. I think it was also at the beginning of his career, so everything was going well with Monuments, but he wanted to try something different. So he had this opportunity to play the Algorithm live, which is like, from a drummer point of view, playing the music that I make is like a masterclass. It's like a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And nobody was expecting someone to be able to play this stuff, and he did it, and that was very impressive. And I think that was like why it was really good for him, because people were talking a lot about him, and about the Algorithm as well. But as a drummer, he got a lot of interesting.
But all your drum patterns, how you construct the drums, because it's you who made the stuff.
Yeah.
Where that came from? All that weird break that, like.
It's I used to listen to a lot of breakcore. So breakcore. Venetian snares, scrapper, and and I think that was like I wanted to make breakcore like a bit like Igor. Igor is making breakcore gothic metal stuff, and I also had like the same inspirations a little bit.
Okay.
And I think that came from that, but I was also listening to technical death metal and progressive metal and a lot of really complex, metal. So I wanted to make something that is very complex, but with electronics. That was the idea.
And you're a fan also of, I don't know, we can call it like progressive music, like, I don't know, like King Crimson or Magma or...
Yeah, I am not an expert. I only know like the most well-known bands like King Crimson, obviously.
Magma, you have listened to Magma?
I don't know very well. I know some tracks and it's cool, and I know they created like their own language or whatever, and it's like very crazy
because I didn't know them that well. I just heard the name. I just knew it because of my girlfriend. And I don't know, when you hear their old albums, it's like the beginning of, I don't know if you know Mr. Bangle.
Yeah, I love them.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Like the grandfathers of Mr. Bangle. Oh, well, I think they are contemporary to King Crimson, but they take it really, really, I don't know what kind of drugs they were taking, but but there are some, like in the older, like 20-minute songs.
Yeah. There's also this. There's an album I love by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Yeah, I think the album is Tarkus or Targus. I don't remember the name. And it's the same, like 10 to 20 minutes song, and it goes in so many different directions.
They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like
it's.
I imagine the manager. No, guys, we need to sell. This is not gonna sell. No,
but they were still very popular, these bands. I mean, now
because
everybody knows them.
That's a different context, I think. These days, when it's everything have to be so efficient,
Yeah.
You have to catch the attention of the listener in like 50 seconds. So that's just the intro of a song of King Crimson.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe people were taking like when they were buying an album, they were stuck with this album. Like they had to listen to it because that was the only album.
Yeah,
that was the only album they had. So they took the time to listen to it. Now it's true that we skip tracks a lot more often than before.
Yeah, you're really singles, and I'm not saying is bad. I'm not against technology. It's just it's just work differently. It's like with every advance we have, like we win some stuff and we lose others.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
No, it's great. And but you like the format of release an album?
What's the question? Sorry, do I like the format?
The format, like releasing an album.
Yeah, I like it. So I like what I'm doing right now with my project Boucle Infini is that I'm releasing one single every month. So I'm not releasing the full album. I'm releasing one track every month. But when the album is completed, like when all tracks are being are released, I will release the album as a physical item. So it's gonna be a vinyl, and it's gonna have like all the artworks inside and whatever. So I still like the concept of the album in the sense that at the end of the 8 tracks, there's gonna be like the full album. But I am taking a different approach that instead of releasing it at once, I'm releasing it every month, one track every month.
Oh, but that's really smart.
And I think that's exactly, because like people, old people we are, I think we still like the format of the album. I mean, for me, it's I like singles, but when I like an album, when I love an album, it's like a different relationship, I think, to the piece, to the music. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course, because sometimes there is a construction in an album. There's an ambience. There's a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way different, but no, it's great.
Yeah, and I think there are ways to adapt to this change of like people not wanting to release albums.
What you say is great. It's like release every single, then you release the album like in a physical format. It's perfect. And can you tell us a little about the Boucle Infini?
Yes.
Because it's a kind of a brand new project, no?
Yeah. So I released the first album in 2017. So now it's the second album, and like I said, I'm releasing a track every month. So it's a different project than what I'm doing with the algorithm in the sense that it's a different concept. And the idea is that I wanted to mix synthwave elements with more like post-rock and post-metal elements. and it's like the mix of these two universe and these two atmospheres. And yeah, so now there's a track that was released 2 days ago, actually. So you can find it on like streaming platforms and stuff.
Maybe we can listen to it, but Facebook is it's complicated these days.
You can maybe a link to it at the end of the podcast or something.
Yeah, or you can post the link. We can post the link right now. And what I would want to say, I forgot. Because you were saying the concept of the algorithm. Where it came from? Why the algorithm?
It's a good question. Well,
because you are a developer. No?
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, I started making music with a computer when I went to university studying computer science. And I think what I was really interested in was using softwares, because I played guitar, but I didn't play guitar really well,
Okay.
And so I wanted to use softwares because I was really good with softwares to make music. But at the same time, I loved metal. So the sort of thought process that I had was, okay, I need to find a way to mix metal and like metal drums, metal guitars with stuff I can write with a computer, with electronic elements. And yeah, it came from this process. And I was a fan of bands like Dillinger Escape Plan, Psyopus, like a really crazy mathcore band. And at the same time, I was listening to Aphex Twin, Venetian Snares, so I was really interested in those two universe. And for me, the link between the two was the precision, because in tech metal, in progressive metal, you have a lot of precision. And in electronic music, like Aphex Twin, it's the same. You have a lot of precision, but it's a different type of precision. So what was interesting for me was like trying to find the sweet spot and what links those two things together and bring something that mix the two. So after it evolved a little bit, and now I'm also looking for different things. Like I don't always want to make the same things every album. But yeah, that came from this realization that maybe there's a link between two different musical genres.
You were a fan of dubstep?
Yeah, also? Kind of.
Because we can hear a little like with your bass.
I wasn't a big fan. I thought it was cool, like a lot of people. And then it lasted 2 years, and then nobody listened to dubstep anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm more a fan of, especially these days, of Neurofunk.
Drum and bass.
Yeah, I like Nausea.
They are the
Nausea are great. Yeah, and also a big influence on like sound design, things like that.
They are. It's not fair. When you listen to a track, it's like.
That's true.
You have seen the picture of their studio?
I've seen pictures. I don't know if it was recent.
Like floating.
Oh yeah, I know that.
The ground, so
that's crazy.
there's no bass. There's only bass when they wanted to hear the bass. They're like, what? No, it's crazy. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah.
For me, also, Noisy is a huge influence. But yeah, the sound design these days, Neurofunk is crazy.
Yeah, and I think so Nausea is a great example. But in Neurofunk, there's this artist called Billain, so Billain, Billain. And it's like it's crazy, like futuristic drum and bass. I don't know, but it's so cool because it really tries to bring like the precision of IDM, you know, and with the speed of drum and bass, and it's like it's really his tracks go really fast, but at the same time it's really precise, and you can really hear everything. And Matthews is great as well. Yeah,
that one also is crazy. Oh, there's so many good producers. Face, say good Black Sun Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. And you never tried to do something like that?
To make like some drum and bass?
And drum and bass?
Yeah, I tried. I mean, I don't think I have the patience. That's kind of like the...
Really? Because your songs are really complex.
You're exactly. That's like my thing. I like when I make tracks, when I make music, I like to have my own universe, and it has to change all the time. You know, Brooklyn Fini is different because it's more like atmospheric stuff. But I think for the algorithm, it's like, for me, I have to change. Like the track, when the track goes on, it has to change all the time, you know. And when I make club music, like making club music for me is like really hard, because in club music you have to keep like always the same tempo, always the same groove. And I think it's really difficult for me to do that. I always want to like make things go crazy all the time.
Do a track with a part of drum and bass. Maybe.
Yeah, but I did that. There's a few tracks that are there's a track called Recovery Fail. Listen to this one, Recovery Fail. I will send it to you.
Is it in the last album?
No, it's in the album Octopus 4.
Ah, I know
this. Yeah, this track has a lot of drum and bass, and I think this album in general also has a lot of drum and bass parts.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's okay.
So I think I just want to confirm that it's the right one. No? Not the right?
Yeah, it's the right one. It's
the right one.
Yes. So the latest track is called Solitude. I think you will see
like the name of this one.
Yeah.
What it means?
I can't remember, but all the tracks are related to movement. So it's always something about movement.
I will start the 20 seconds.
Okay. Otherwise, you will get like striked or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot more chill than the algorithm, obviously.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a different approach.
Yeah, and why you had the need to doing this? Like, you wanted to separate it completely from the algorithm?
Yeah, I think
because you can release this like algorithm.
I know, but I think I had this thing that I needed to separate it in my mind. I needed to have like a fresh start somewhere.
Yeah, like a concept.
Yeah, I was sort of stuck with the algorithm a little bit. I didn't know where I wanted to go, and I think I needed to really start fresh and separate it from the other to really get inspiration.
Sure. And you never think to add vocals to any of your projects?
Yeah, I think about it, and so right now I'm gonna switch and talk more about the algorithm, because
I have a surprise.
So right now I've been talking with a label called FIXT. So FIXT released the album Brute Force.
Yeah.
In 2016.
The label of Celdware.
Yes, exactly. And I've been talking with them, and we are come to an agreement, and so I'm gonna work with them with the next algorithm album. And there might be chances that I want to try and add vocals to some of the algorithm tracks. So I have started writing some tracks. I haven't started writing tracks with vocals. That's gonna have to happen. But yeah, I'm really interested in trying that out, I think, and that will help me, find good vocalists. Maybe Clayton could be interested. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Clayton will be perfect.
Why not?
He can sing, scream.
Exactly. So that's good that I have now the guys at FIXT that are interested in helping me out doing this. So it was always very difficult for me to sort of think about ways to integrate vocals because the music is so complicated. It's so, and the concept is so specific as well, so it's hard to think about ways to have vocals. But I think I've started like thinking about it, and I might be interested in trying it out. So we'll see what comes up from this. But yeah,
but you will like that the singers came with the idea themselves, or you will tell them, do this, sing like this, like do a MIDI.
I think I like to give them like the freedom to express their creativity.
Are you sure?
Well, if I don't like it, I can just edit it and add effects everywhere.
Yeah. No, of course. No, but I think it's hard when you do music by yourself, because it's the same with me.
Yes.
Like give the okay, I give you the keys of the car.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
No, but I think with more,
I think it could be great.
Yeah. I think the best way is when you give them the most information. Like you have to do it in this part, like something like this. Like trying to guide him to make something that is not completely, so different of what you're looking for. But no, it's great collaborate with other artists. And in FIXT, there's I don't know, that guy, the Anix.
I haven't listened. I know who he is, but I haven't listened to it.
Yeah, he's part of the FIXT, and he's very talented too. He also do everything by himself. And yeah, of course, Clayton is for me is a genius. Cool. He's and he's kind of the same.
He's a very hard-working person. You can see, like he's done so much stuff. It's incredible.
But also he also don't give a fuck. He can make a song of 8 minutes, with many changes. It will he just create like you, And no, that I'm really happy for you that you're working with FIXT.
Yeah.
Big up to James Rhodes.
Yeah, very very excited about this. So right now, like I think I told you earlier when we weren't streaming, but I've moved into a new apartment in France 3 days ago. So right now starts, so not officially because I'm still waiting for my monitor speakers, but I will start like writing new algorithm tracks, and hopefully I want to like be productive and try to have it done before the end of the year. So we will see. But right now I'm in algorithm mode officially. So
no, that's great. And all your subjects in your song, but like everything is related with technology and science. It's because of a specific reason, because you love it, because you want to try to stay different from other metal bands?
Well, I've always been interested in technology and programming and computer science. So that has always been a passion of mine, and I'm still a developer to this day. So for me, it's about creating a universe that resonates with me. So when I choose this topic, when I choose this universe, it's only because it means something to me and because I get inspired by it, and when I'm coding, I have like a specific mindset, that is different from when making music, for example. And I like to try to find the emotions that I feel when I think about technology, when I use technology, and try to replicate them in a musical way. So yeah, I think it's all about trying to find the things that mean something to me and that means something to my my daily life, sort of thing. And I love the complexity and the logic of computers, and you can always find a reason why a computer is failing at something. So doesn't mean it's easy, but you can always find the reason why a computer crashes, for example. And I like this because it removes the chaos of life. In life, sometimes there are things you don't understand why it happens, but it happens.
And you can control.
Yeah, and with computers you can always control, and I think it means something to me because it reassures me, and that's I think that's my relationship with technology. But obviously technology is not always good. But
what do you think could be a good example of a bad use of technology or a bad consequence of the evolution of technology?
Well, there has been this whole thing of, well, first of all, I think that's the most important is the impact on the ecosystem. Now we have like such a capitalist society that like so many machines are being produced and so many machines are running all the time, which creates like this bad impact on global warming and on ecology. And I think that's not very good, obviously. But also there are things like what happened recently with TikTok, that now we are suspecting them to have to collect data from the users, like to spy on users who use the app. So
I knew that something happened with TikTok, but I didn't knew exactly what was the problem.
So there's this thing. So I don't know what came out of it. I don't know if it's really if they are really doing that. But it's scary, because like a teenager is using TikTok, but maybe his data is being stolen by Chinese corporations and we don't know about it. I don't know. It's complicated, and I think it happens behind the scene with things like Facebook. They are stealing and selling data from users, which can be scary sometimes.
Yeah, because it gives you so much control. You can see the example with Brexit and with Trump, how they use the technology, that kind of collection of data to influence the public and politics. And
exactly.
Kind of the scary thing is it's very effective.
Yeah, it is. It is
because
it's
like everything with more information you have, and you have more efficient ways to send the right message to the right people,
and the more you can control them, and then you can tell them what to buy and what to do, and you don't realize it, but you are part of you are being manipulated all the time, but you don't even realize it.
Yeah, like the algorithm with Facebook that sometimes it shows you something that will piss you off or it will kind of make you happy. You know, everyone think is kind of organic stuff. You know, but like you say, there's a lot of algorithm behind that will control that. We have a question from Alexander Drozdov. I think he's maybe Russian. I don't know. Remi, what would you say when someone compared your music with the stuff MBR writes?
Oh, I think he's talking about Masterboot Record. So have you heard about him? Yeah, I think he released an album.
But he came after you.
Yeah, and I don't. I mean, his music is more like chip tune, retro.
Yeah, no, I know.
If you take like the old Doom soundtrack from the 90s, that's kind of like what he's doing with chip tune sounds, and it's awesome. It's I played with him in Paris 2 years ago, and he had such a good show, and is a really amazing guy and so nice. And I think his music is great. So obviously, it's like electronic metal with computer science vocabulary. So it can be very similar, but I think the style is very different, and it's also very inspiring.
Well, I know him. He had a band before called Top Star Sync.
Yeah,
was kind of industrial. Actually, one time I invited to sing in one of my songs. We changed remixes, and then he released a solo album, and then he started this project. And I think it was genius because I don't know, was like with Carpenter Brut and Perturbator and many other bands. There was a start like kind of like they will start to blowing up all these kind of synthwaves bands.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure if he's a developer too, but I will not be surprised.
I know that he's interested in like hacking, but I don't know if he's actually a hacker.
But the visual aspect, he worked it really well. You know, like using something that everyone could recognize.
Yeah, exactly. I think that what's really for me the genius.
He said, yes, he is a programmer.
Okay, I think the genius of this project is that it's awesome, but it's very simple because it always uses like the same sounds and the same samples, but it can create a very different atmosphere and very different riffs and melodies, but it keeps it really simple. And I think that's something I cannot be proud of because I make things way too complicated. That's also maybe why it's cool. I don't know, but I have like a different approach. But he has the power of like releasing an album in 1 week if he wants, because it keeps it really simple, and that's very impressive. And the music is awesome. So it's very cool.
So it happened to you before that they compare you or they kind of mix together with this project?
Yeah, I mean so it happened with Masterboot Record when the first tracks started to be released. I don't know when it was, maybe 3 years ago or 2 years ago. I don't know. But as soon as it started the project, I already had a lot of people comparing it with the algorithm. But it happened with bands before. There was this French guy called AID, I think. It was releasing also it was releasing like electronic metal stuff that was very similar. There's also another French guy called Heptadium who released electro. So there's a lot of like projects that exist that are I wouldn't say similar, but like linked, because I don't think it's they each have their own universe, but yeah, it happens. It's normal. I think it's such a specific style of music that when someone does something that is a little bit similar, everyone is like, oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but the mix between metal and electronic music have been existing since a very long time.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the first reference that trying to do something like that? Like a band that
I don't know, like Prodigy, maybe.
Yeah,
it's different. It's not like progressive metal, techno. It's like more like, I don't know, rock with electronic music. But
no, but for example, in the 90s, there were. But for example, you some band like GEEK Groups, for example.
No, I don't know.
GEEK Groups is like one of the first band that they are from Germany. Like in the 90s, they tried to mix metal but were more industrial.
Yeah, a bit like Ministry.
Yeah, yeah, but they are like contemporaries,
Okay.
Because actually, industrial was kind of one of the first styles that tried to mix metal and electronic music, and there's a bunch of bands. Like you say, Ministry, and Frontline Assembly, but unfortunately, not a lot of people know. For example, everyone knows Rammstein, but no one know what it came before.
Yeah.
But no, there are some really interesting music. Of course, it's kind of old stuff, but there are some bands that keep playing music and releasing records and everything. And for me, it's funny when you start to work more your social networks and everything. You start to just do. You used to use the word "we."
Yeah.
What? Why? For me, it's genius because it's so simple and it's thick. It's like you are showing you're French.
I mean, that's the thing, like being French for some reason is funny. I don't know, because we all know, like we all know those stereotypes.
Of course, the baguette.
And I don't know. I think it's funny of course, it's not always. It can be true. I mean, you can probably confirm that French people sometimes can be stereotypical. But I think it's funny to play around with that. And there was also this thing with Gérard Depardieu.
Yeah, Gérard Depardieu.
And I think it's like, I love the absurd humor, like humor that doesn't make sense. I think it's funny. Maybe it's not funny. I don't know. I'll just do it.
No, it's funny. I can confirm. No, it's perfect. So, well, Remi, we almost did 1 hour, and I know you are a busy guy. So I would like to. Where are you living right now?
I'm living in France, in Perpignan.
Perpignan.
Do you know the city or not?
Ça c'est où?
C'est vers. Tu vois Montpellier?
Ah.
Ben c'est pas là. C'est au sud de Montpellier. C'est au sud de Montpellier.
C'est pas là.
C'est entre Montpellier et l'Espagne, si tu veux.
Ah, d'accord. Au sud?
Voilà. Ouais, c'est vraiment au sud.
Soleil, donc, tout ça.
Mes parents, en fait, j'ai vécu ici pendant 18 ans. Et donc, mes parents habitent toujours ici, mes frères habitent toujours ici. Donc, pour l'instant, vu qu'on ne peut pas voyager, je suis à Perpignan.
Non, mais c'est cool quand même.
Ça pourrait être pire. Parce qu'il y a la mer, la montagne.
Ouais. Je suis en Bretagne. Je suis en Bretagne. Tu t'imagines la pluie tous les jours?
Ah ouais?
Non,
c'est pas la même.
Non, j'exagère. Well, sorry guys, we go in a French mood. So your upcoming project is like next. You will gonna work in your next album for the algorithm, but right now you are releasing singles for your project called
Boucle Infini.
Boucle Infini.
Exactly. So
it's beautiful, like the name. Boucle Infini.
It's Boucle Infini is the track from the algorithm. So that's where it comes from. But yeah, that's not super important.
No, it's important.
So yeah, right now I'm releasing track. I think I've released 3 tracks so far, and so I'm gonna release 1 track every month, and it's gonna be
how many tracks?
3. 9, I think. 8 or 9. I don't even know. There's gonna be 3 remixes. So, and I can't say who is gonna remix, but it's gonna be special. No, I cannot say, but it's gonna be very special.
Oh, that's cool.
It's gonna be very cool. So it's gonna be 3 remixes, and then at the end, like I said, at the end, I'm gonna make a physical edition with vinyl. And I want to make like an art book with all the artworks and everything.
Yeah. And with Boucle Infini, you're with a label or is your...
No, it's independent.
Independent?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it gives me, I like to have the freedom to decide when to release, and I think it also allows me to try different things,
Yeah.
To make a vinyl special thing, I can really decide. And I don't have, the need for a label like with the algorithm where they can provide me with vocalists and stuff like that. So,
no, that's great. Well, man, I really thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Thanks a lot.
C'était génial. Et bon, on se parle bientôt.
Bah oui, merci beaucoup.
So, take care and...
Thanks. You too.
Thank you.
Have a good night.